Turn Is It Anyway, a podcast all about our board gaming group and board games. I'm Adrian, your current first player, and I'm joined today by Davey.
Hello.
Rob.
Hi.
And JP.
I'm back again.
He is. This episode's main topic will be niche number ones. This is currently our first turn, but unlike a Splotter game, first turns here don't really matter, so we'll go straight into our second turn. So it's that time where we talk about you and me, and we talk about all the good things and the bad things that have been, and we talk about Hex.
Rob's look at
He's
Rob.
blushing. He's gone bright red.
He's gone absolutely done.
That was amazing. I tried to hold it in. I'm so sorry. That was amazing.
It's going in the edits.
That was brilliant.
He got a better reaction from you than Curly.
Oh God,
Yeah,
that was
Curly just
amazing.
looked like
I
that.
could never have done that in a million years. That was fantastic.
Anyway, carry on, Adrian.
Sorry.
Oh, no, that's all right. That's okay. So, Davey, what have you been up to over the last couple of weeks?
So, I finally had that tournament I keep banging on about. Went 2-1 in the end. Warhammer 40k. It was alright. And then I've played a plethora of games. But the one I'll probably talk about is was it Las Vegas? Royale, yeah.
With cheese.
Pretty much, it's just a fun little party game. We all roll dice. There's a couple of casinos that you can go to that have abilities, but it's mainly just area control. Not much else to it, but quite good fun. Everyone's shouting at each other when you roll another one or whatever, and you don't need it, and you take it someone else's spot, because it has quite a cool little elimination mechanic where if two people roll the same value, it eliminates both of those, so other people can cut in. But yeah, good fun.
So I've not played this. Is
No.
it whoever has the most money at the end wins?
Yeah, it's just 3 rounds. 3 rounds of rolling until you rolled all your dice. So you start with 6 dice and one big dice that counts as a double value. And yeah, you roll until everyone's out of dice, and then you earn some money, and then you have 3 rounds of that.
Nice.
The rub of the game is when you pick your number for which dice for the casino it goes to, you have to pick all of the dice that's rolled that number.
Right,
So
okay.
it's kind of like, it's a lot of push your luck. You think, do you want to put 5 of your 8 dice onto one casino early to lock it down and get the most money, or do you want to put little itty bitty single dice on the casinos to spread
your luck and try and...
Lots of swearing.
There was lots of swearing. Yeah, it was good fun. It was good fun. Yeah. I think Stuart got more het up in that than he did Scythe, so that was quite fun. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Rolling dice, pretty much.
Sounds good. I'll have to give it a go at some point.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
Good
sounds
party
like
game. Definitely good party game.
Yeah.
Sounds like an option. And Rob, what have you been up to?
I've actually been trying to recover from going to Vegas. We had a fantastic time. So we managed to get Perseverance to the table, 4 of us playing that, and it was fantastic. Dinosaur worker placement game, great fun, really enjoyed it, and we had a good laugh.
Yeah.
So it's episode 1?
Yes.
So you're defending your wall against
Yes.
the incoming dinosaurs.
Yeah, and there was some tactics that kind of screwed everybody over. Which
Yeah.
was
Yeah, Davey.
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah, Davey.
What did you do this time?
I breached, and then it messed JP up, but it also messed
And I
me
said,
up.
you do know when you breach, Davey, that you're going to lose followers for sending dinosaurs. He says, I know, but you're going to lose 2 of your camps. I thought, you bastard.
Because I thought I'd then control the area.
But the 6 points that you lost doing that ultimately cost you the game. Didn't
Yeah,
it?
because it meant that I didn't. At the end game scoring, it also scores per camp in there as
Yeah.
well. So I was like, oh, that's my one that I then own. So now I've lost points. I was like, oh, okay. So
And yeah, you were 6 points off because it was Curly's first time playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Naturally, he won.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
And Davey muttered the immortal line is, "I'm never playing this again."
I am never playing. No, not episode 1.
Yeah.
But it was a great game.
But it wasn't because of the outcome.
No, I
It
know.
was just I had
something
the
about-
feelings with that with the first time I played it. I think
Something about it you don't quite
Yeah.
enjoy for whatever reason.
Yeah, exactly.
But we played it 2-player. I think my personal opinion, the sweet spot for that game is 3-player.
I agree.
Because when you're playing 2, you've got the third
Like dummy player.
dummy
Fake
player,
player.
which just gets in the way. And 4 players, it took a long time to play.
I don't know if it did, because I think we had it done in just over 2 hours, and actually for a Mind Clash game, that ain't bad.
No,
But it felt like a long time between turns.
Because your brain was...
Yeah, and there's so much on the board to look at and do. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic. I look forward to doing the second episode at some point. But it was a bit much for my tiny little brain to sort of process all in one go. So no, I enjoyed it, and kind of that's what I've been up to.
I'm intrigued about episode 2. Episode 2 looks very...
it's different.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah. It looks a bit more mind clashy,
I
actually.
think it looks busier.
Yeah.
I do think it looks busier. It'd be interesting to see if it adds a different game with all of those extra.
Well, it reminds me
does.
more of an
I've played
Anthony, the way it
does
looks.
it?
doesn't
Played
it?
solo, but it definitely feels different.
Doesn't count, does it?
Yeah. Always.
Got to justify the price. Got to justify the price.
Got to get the plays in. Got to get the plays in, man.
He's played solo since he got... What's that game called? Too many
skeletons.
Too many bones. Oh yeah, I think that's the
Too
one.
many poker chips.
Yeah.
There's 6 episodes out of 6, isn't it? Yes. 6 out of 6 it's been mentioned.
It's got to be mentioned.
Yeah.
He's legally obligated to mention it.
Yeah. He's been paid, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's it.
It's in his marriage contract.
That's how he's getting those premium health chips, is by mentioning too many bones.
They're on the way, coming soon.
Go on then, JP, what have you been up to?
Oh, I played loads. Absolutely loads and loads of stuff. I'm actually looking for the list going, God, what do I pick? But I'm going to pick Game of Thrones because, and Davey's sniggering in the corner, but Game of Thrones is 2nd edition. It's an older game. It's a bit clunky in the way the rules work because it's an old game, but I love it. It's fun. It's the fact that you've all got obviously the houses are from the Starks, the Tyrells, and Lannisters, etc., and you're all kind of putting orders on secretly and basically stabbing people in the back. It's Game of Thrones style, and just a good event to get to the table. We get it to the table about once a year, don't we? I think it tends to.
It's been less, but only because of COVID.
Probably right, but it's kind of one of those things. It's a bit like Twilight Imperium in the fact that it takes a long time to get through.
It's an event.
It's an event.
It's definitely a day game, isn't it?
It's a day game.
Yeah.
You don't really want to play it at night. We tried once and it was like 3 a.m. when we finished.
And it takes a long time for friendships to heal.
Yeah,
after
that's probably why it's a year.
After the initial.
And organising the choir for the start intro.
Yeah. Absolutely. All the playlist, the music, and everything else in between. But no, it was great to get it to the table. We played with the Mother of Dragons expansion. So you were, Davey, you were the Targaryens.
I was.
For your first time.
I was sexy Daenerys.
Yeah, and
from the film, the TV show, not the books.
Whatever. She's like 12.
Yeah.
You just want to clarify.
Yeah, I was going to clarify that. Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, we had a good old skirmish. I pushed, I think, the game towards the end and overextended my reach and got a kick in by Adrian, who was playing Zarins, weren't you?
I was playing Aaron.
Yeah. So you said, "You're not having the win. I'm going to beat you up," which you did. I went back into my little filthy corner and essentially
suddenly, some dragons came in,
and you lost one of them, didn't you, mate? You lost one.
Yeah, but I lost one through odds.
Through the rules. Yeah.
Bad luck rather than.
Yeah.
Was it one in 144 chance or something or other? But
1 in 12. So 1 in 12 chance.
No, it's a double 1 in 12.
No, is it?
Yeah, there was 2 fights. One skulls.
Got rid of my knight.
Yeah.
And then one skulls the dragon.
So I was double skulled in 2 fights.
But that was sweet though. For the rest of us around
some
the
might
table,
call it skull fucked.
You were definitely skull fucked.
Yeah.
But no, really enjoyed it. I never not enjoy that game. I think we actually had to end it a bit early because we kind of went to time and people had things to
it went
do.
on a lot longer. But there was a lot we just couldn't remember, and it was
It'd been a while since most of us played. We sort of
took a while to
took a
get
little
going.
while,
But it was good fun.
The Targies one, you won the game, didn't you, mate? So
yeah. I know I said I won, and I don't think I enjoyed it. The feel bad moment I didn't enjoy, but I did enjoy the event and everything else. And it is a game I do come back to, and I started putting maybe up for a while because that skull screwed me over before when I fought Curly, I think.
No, I think that's just you trying to kill Curly screwed you up.
The amount you fight
after that, yes.
The amount you fight people in games, you have a much higher chance than anybody else pulling that skull because you're trying to kick everybody's ass.
No, I was very diplomatic. I didn't fight I didn't only fought you. I think that was it. pretty much.
Yeah, you played it well actually. You were trying to persuade other players, come and do this, which is exactly what you need to do as Targaryens. You need to try and cause chaos amongst the other players to stop them ganging up on you. But the one thing I will say before we kind of wrap up is I actually want to kind of play the game again and leave Targaryens out for a few times and just concentrate on just the Westeros
the
board.
inter-house
rivalry
rather than that
I think I
escalation part.
Yeah, I finally realised that the Mother of Dragons with Targaryens is essentially just like a different game mode.
It's like a mini game in its own sense, and the fact that you have to try and deal with that one player with the dragons
whilst
and
watching
keep
your
them
back.
while watching your back. Yeah.
Well,
and
this was it. I was on my way to head over to Essos.
Yeah.
And
As
then,
you do.
Just go and kick some Targy ass. And then, basically, Chris walked over with his Starks while I was sort of, I'll head over there.
Yeah.
I'll just take a bit of your land. So I had to pull a U-turn in a boat and go and teach him a lesson. That's then when the Targs were able
that's
to
it. And
pull
you can't
away.
do that if the Targaryens are on the
No.
board. Whereas I think it's a more balanced,
I
easier
think
game
you're right.
to play
I think
without that.
I just miss we don't have to watch you back from the whole Targaryens and the other houses, and I just want to concentrate the game on Westeros and actually just have the standard game of Thrones, which is you still got to watch you back, but I think we probably would have done more alliances or mini alliances between people to help kick other people and then backstab people. Anyway, could probably talk about Game of Thrones forever. Enjoyed it, brilliant fun. See you next year probably, just because it takes forever to get to the table. But what about you, mate?
So we played Great Wall.
We did.
Finally got the Kickstarter
We
to
did.
the table.
Yeah.
Everyone else seemed to have fun. I think I'll put it that way.
You didn't enjoy that much, did you?
I didn't. I really didn't click with that game. The mechanics look fantastic, and I think I remembered a lot of the early Kickstarter stuff when I was sort of thinking about how the game would play out.
Yeah.
And then with this final version, it's more linear than I was expecting. When you look at all the generals and a lot of the advisors, they are all working towards hitting what's on the other side of the wall. It's almost opposite to Perseverance, which is about what's behind the wall.
Yeah.
All your victory points come from hitting the other side of the wall, which I suppose makes sense thematically. But I was hoping for something along the lines of, building, apart from just giving you 15 victory points, you can build an engine around building those walls, around building those little fortifications.
Having different avenues of victory would have been nice. Yeah, I do understand that.
And so, let's say, first game, tactics are a bit wobbly. Totally hands up on that one. I was, as I mentioned in previous podcasts, I was totally worried about teaching the game and making sure everyone got it, and I was kind of watching what everyone else was doing.
You did a good teach though, by the way, to give you feedback. It was a good teach.
Thanks. Yeah.
Even Davey was quiet for most of it. That's always good.
It's a good start, isn't it? Yeah, the teach wasn't too bad. Found a lovely, on Board Game Geek, found a lovely cheat sheet that I printed off and laminated and gave to everyone, and I think that certainly helped with A, teaching, and B, people being able to look it up. But I just wasn't as enthralled with the game as I thought. I'll absolutely give it another go.
I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I could see everyone else around the table was really enjoying themselves. I was struggling to read the board. I think I had an expectation in my head that was higher than what the board game was delivering.
Yeah, maybe.
Which never helps.
Sometimes
the high expectation thing when you come to something can sometimes destroy your own enjoyment of it.
Well, we talked about Kickstarter and hype from the previous episode, and it might have been a culmination of that, because you've gone through the whole campaign of getting excited about this, seeing all the changes potentially, and now finally getting your hands on it.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, maybe that's why they leave it 3 years till you get your game, so the hype can die down and then you'll enjoy it.
Well, it sat on a shelf. It sat on the shelf for 6 months, basically. Well, after I got the Kickstarter, it was 4 to 6 months, I think, that it sat on the shelf, and I've read the rule book, and I've watched some videos, and I've sort of gone back through the Kickstarter pages and again built up that hype a little bit, and there just wasn't there was a great mix of mechanics. Really enjoyed the mechanisms that are in there, but the way it culminated and the way it all fitted together just left me a little bit disappointed.
I do feel like it's going to be not a one and done, but maybe 4 or 5 and then probably done, because you've probably worked out a strategy of what's going to kind of win the game, because it does seem like there is only one avenue of victory. Tambo had the
tactics cards,
yes,
which is what I had as well, and I thought, well, because we're going after tactics cards, I'll find another way for victory, and I think it's quite clear, having looked at it again and seen how other people have played it, that it is, if your guy does tactics cards, you have to go tactics cards.
Yeah.
Even if I'm competing with Tambo, I absolutely have to do the tactics cards. There's no, oh, well, I've got a weird mix of general and advisor, I'll go down a different route. No, you've got to go down whatever mix you can pull out of those first two cards.
It locks you into that thing
straight
and that's
away.
it.
Yeah. Which isn't the worst thing in the world
It's
to give
not
a
the
bit
worst
of
thing.
direction, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It left me wanting by the end. I got frustrated with it halfway through, and on the way home, pulled all the game out, looked at all the generals, looked at all the advisors, was really sort of pouring through it. Just left me feeling a bit like, no, this isn't what I thought it was going to be.
Were you holding like a flame? Like I'm gonna torch you. Yeah.
No, not quite.
Okay.
We did have some good music though for it.
We did-
I
we-
did enjoy the Who.
We played the Who with
yeah.
all six.
Yeah,
All six versions
All
of the
six
same song.
versions of it with
Yeah,
different guest artists performing on it. Did you want the Who with Evanescence? Yes, I did. Perfect. You can have that. Did you want the Who with whoever else it was? Yeah, sure.
Gotta love Abba's in music. There you go.
I didn't even know that was a thing. That was amazing.
Yeah, the Who is like a Mongolian
metal,
heavy metal. It's all like throat singing and all that. Like
It's really
heavy
good.
metal.
Oh,
It is really good.
fantastic.
It's
Yeah,
great,
yeah.
but not when you've got the same song just on repeat 9 times with different guest vocals on
Adrian's
it.
not enjoying the game and he just says, nom, nom, nom.
If anyone
Slowly
doesn't know-
anger levels rising.
If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, check our TikTok out because I think we used the clip of the song on the Great Wall
Yes, we
video. So just have a listen to that. You'll hear the throatiness of it.
Yeah.
So check it out.
Well, I think that's a good summary of what we've been playing for the last couple of weeks. So let's move on to turn 3. Today's turn 3, our main event, will be niche number 1s. We've probably all watched some top 10s to gain an understanding of what people are really enjoying. This is kind of like that, but less helpful.
Great.
We'll be talking about very niche circumstances and what our number 1 game is in that niche circumstance. So for our first number 1, Davey, do you want to tell me about your favourite game that everybody else hates?
So I've got a couple, but I'm going to probably run Pipeline as the one that everyone else seemed to hate and I seem to love. It was pretty much just like manipulating stock markets, and I guess it felt like everyone else they were at work, whereas for me I just quite enjoyed it. It seemed to click. But and the other one, Food Chain Magnet, but I don't know if everyone else hates it yet.
Mine's not made up yet.
Yeah.
on that one.
But I feel like they're teetering towards hating it. So.
We'll see.
As a heating and plumbing person, did you just say that it probably felt like more like work to everyone else than it did to you?
I thought the same
creating
thing.
pipes?
I thought the exact
But
same.
for them, people are working behind a computer, probably dealing with stats and figures a lot more than me. Whereas mine's all physical, the actual pipes instead. So that was kind of manipulating the oil stocks and doing everything else behind the background. So yeah, I do get the irony though.
Who's next?
Rob, off you go.
A game that I loved that everybody else hated was Dice Throne. I thought it was Street Fighter with dice. I loved it. I thought it was great. We played 5 players, which was a bit of an awkward number. And I had a fantastic time.
I think we had multiple games going on, didn't we, with 5 players?
I think so, if I remember. I knew
3 and a 2.
Yeah, 3 and a 2.
I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
Yeah, so, but I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Completely random, which I think is probably why the strategy guys hated it. Because you couldn't plan 2 or 3 moves ahead. You rolled your dice, you had to deal with it there and then, and that was it. But I absolutely loved it. So that, I had a lot of fun playing it, even if everybody else didn't.
A lot of dice was thrown that night. Yeah. But
luckily nothing else was.
yeah.
But no,
JP nearly swinging punches at the.
I think it was more
corner.
Curly's reaction to it. It's
Yeah.
it was fantastic. But I think me and Ian really enjoyed it, and everybody else seemed to hate it.
Do you think it was just the lack of strategy that other people didn't like, or?
I think so. I mean, you guys play a lot of heavy games. A lot of heavily.
That's not why I didn't like it.
No, it's not why I didn't like it either.
So why didn't you like it?
Mine, I think it was too many players. I think a 1v1 game, it would be really fun. But for anything more than that, I'd rather like a dual game is good. Haven't they done a dual version of it as well, or no?
I think it's just 2 players.
It can be
Single
just
player.
played dual.
Yeah. But yeah, if a 2-player game, I'll probably enjoy it. But
I like the lighter games.
Yeah.
Like you like Scythe and Twilight Imperium. There is no way I could stay focused for that length and there's too many ways to win. Like what you were saying, I quite like the fact that certain games have
just one straight narrow.
I know what I'm
line
doing.
to
I
victory.
know where I'm going. I know what I'm trying to do. And for me, too much choice. That was probably the biggest problem I had with Perseverance, was that there was just too many options. And it took me. You guys hit the ground running, and Curly had nearly double my points. Because it took me so long to actually get going that once I did, it was fine. But I think for me, too many choices is a bad thing.
Yeah,
that's fair enough.
I quite like a narrow thing, and I think that's why I enjoyed that. I just enjoyed the game, and I enjoyed the interaction around the table. And for me, a lot of the times, it isn't the game we're playing; it's the it's the interaction. That's why I love Game of Thrones. I don't enjoy the game.
You just like stabbing people in the back.
Yeah, but I enjoy watching those interactions with everybody else, and
it riles people up.
It makes the event. It's not a good game.
Yeah,
but the players around the table make it a wonderful experience. So for me, dice throw.
Yeah,
fair enough. Yeah, I don't like it. Not enough in it.
So what do you like that no one else likes, JP?
Oh, you know what the answer is. It's Cloud Spire, isn't it? I've talked about this on a few episodes ago. I think me and Davey, in fairness to you, mate, we're the only ones in our entire group that like it.
Yeah.
So much so, I've had to find new people to try and extend the
so we can finally get the fabled 3 to 4 player.
I've never played it.
Yeah. Do you like heavy, complex games?
As stated, 2 minutes ago, it's probably not for me.
Oh, but it's a bit of
is
tower
on
defense
rails.
in there.
It pretty much is one direction. You're not going to have any choices to make.
I'll give it a go. I'll happily give it a go.
And it's quite fightery. There is the little fights that happen.
We'll see. But yeah, I'm not going to go on about it because I've listened to
already.
episode previous. Can't remember.
Previous.
Yeah, we talked about it. But yeah, that's my favourite game that everyone hates.
Bro, and mine is Axis and Allies. I totally get why people don't like it. I think there's a lot of reasons why people don't like it. It's World War II theme. That's not for everyone. It's a 6 to 12-hour game. That's not for everyone.
Rob's out.
It's got
nobody can see, but my eyes just went really wide.
It's got player elimination in a 12-hour game, so that's not for everyone.
Ouch.
Oh yeah, if the Germans run over the Russians, they're gone.
Jeez.
Smashed into next year.
So they're
1946.
They're making teas for the next 8 hours.
Yeah. Or they go home.
They just go home. Yeah. What? How many players is it?
Is it 6 or 7?
I've never played it.
It depends. It depends also. So there's there's loads of versions, but there's 2 main differences. You can play like a smaller version of it, where you get Americans, British, Italians. Maybe you don't get Italians. You get German, Japanese, and Russians. And then you can have the Eastern and the Western map that you combine together into a bigger one, and then I think that does come with Italians and some extras. I think it's a fantastic game. It's got that little bit of economy and lots of strategizing and tactics, and it's a real nice mix. If you're understanding that 3 hours into this game you might have to walk home, I think it's one of the better games of that type, which is genuinely ruthless. Some of like the TIs and stuff like that can be a bit toothless occasionally. Axis and Allies for me
pull the punch just before the end.
Yeah, has real bite to it. It's an older game. It's got older
push little pieces round with a stick, or no?
Like a German commander.
I'm sure you could. I've backed the War Room Kickstarter, which is basically Axis and Allies kind of version 2, and that there is an upgrade pack for sticks to push units around the
board. That's all I've ever
with.
wanted to do.
There's actually a name for these little sticks as well, no? Is it?
What, my unit pusher?
My unit pusher. I don't know.
I know exactly what you mean.
Can we not call it that? Whatever we're calling it, can we not call it your unit pusher?
I've just realised that the connotations of what I've just said. But I'm keeping it in.
That's
unit pusher.
It's in a box of his whip upstairs, and
that is now officially what it's going to be called, regardless of what else you come up with.
So
we have also polled our group as to what their choices were for this, and I think the one that stood out for me was Curly's. He said Game of Thrones. At least he knows that Davey hates it.
Well done, Curly.
But I think again, it's one of those.
Teetering on the edge of it.
We've talked about it before as well. Is there are some old school mechanics in there. There's some backstabbing. I think there's plenty not to like if you're not into it.
It's literally just the randomness. I didn't
the
like
battle.
randomness.
It's the tides of battle cards that Davey hates.
Yeah,
which is the bit that randomises the battles slightly. Anyway.
Our next niche, number 1, favourite games under £20. Rob, tell me about yours.
For me, it's a game that sounds ridiculous, but we played it a lot on the train. We played it with our kids on holiday, and it's lovely.
Yeah,
I think it's such a simple, brilliant. It's got enough strategy in there to keep it interesting, but it's accessible enough that our 7, 8-year-old children were playing it on holiday, and we were playing it in a bar. And
Of course we were.
well, we're on holiday.
Yeah, it's a good place to play it.
But it was, and like our wives loved it, and my wife doesn't really enjoy board gaming.
It's only because it's the only love letter she's got from you, Rob.
Quite possibly.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
when I said I was going to get her a love letter, I think she had something else planned.
Yeah.
But for me, it's a brilliant party game. You can teach it in 2 minutes, and I think it costs about £11. I think if you're travelling with your family, just get it. It's fantastic.
it is
Great.
tiny, as you say.
It's in a bag.
Comes in a bag. Most of the copies do. And interestingly enough, both Ian and Curly mentioned Love Letter. They were
did
the
they really?
ones that I was going to shout out.
Cool.
So
Well, we played it on the train when we went to the Expo in
Tabletop gaming live, wasn't it?
in
London.
Alexandra Palace. So we
Oh,
were sat on
right.
the train for 2 hours. You bought Love Letter, and before we knew it, we were in London, and we had such a laugh. And there were people watching us play it, trying to figure out what the hell we were doing.
Yeah.
And we just had so much fun playing it, and it's fantastic.
I think
Don't get the other versions though.
No.
Don't get the other versions.
Don't get the Infinity Gauntlet one.
Batman's not.
It is shit.
I think traditional Love Letter is probably the best of the bunch for me.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with it.
And it's probably popular enough we don't have to explain too much more than
No.
Just buy it.
watch a 2-minute learn video and be done with it.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Go on then, JP. What's yours?
Mine. I had a game. I think Davey's going to talk about it. But then I recently acquired Super Skill Pinball. Ramp it up.
Saw that. On
Pinball.
saw that on the Facebook page.
And man, I am all over it. I'm addicted to this roll and write game.
Is that why you keep making little weird dinging sounds and stuff like that? You're
Nah,
you're
it's
hinting
just-
on the bumpers.
Keeps
Yeah.
walking into walls, making ding noise.
I just love it. I absolutely love it. It's a stupid concept for a game and think, yeah, pinball is obviously about reflexes and fast pace and all that stuff. And I'm playing a board game version of this thing. But essentially, you've got 2 dice, you roll it, you pick one, and you're moving the ball to the targets across this table. And it's just really fun. I've got it sat next to my work computer. So every now and then, lunch is coming up, bust it out, have a game for 30 minutes, score the highest I possibly can, and put it away. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
So it's rather than anyone remember the Windows XP pinball thing they used
Yeah.
to load up onto that. Yeah.
It's a lot of
Rather than-
nostalgia. It's
yeah.
really. It comes with 4 tables, and I'm only playing the initial one, the easy one. But yeah, the kind of increasing complexity with
Get
all
all your
different rules.
multipliers.
Yeah,
all
and you
that
get
kind of stuff.
and the best bit about it, I'm really excited. You
Yeah, we can tell.
The best bit about it is when you go multi-ball,
Multi-ball.
and then you get a second ball on there, and then all hell breaks loose. It's brilliant. And then your scores double up, and
How many dice does it come with? I'm just intrigued.
It's just 2.
Just 2 dice.
Yeah, you'll share the dice. If it's a multiplayer, which to be honest, I only bought it. for
Multiplayer,
solo.
multi-ball.
Multiplayer, then you just share the same 2 dice,
Okay.
and everyone picks one of the values out of it. And off
Yeah,
you go,
yeah.
crossing little targets off, scoring points. Brilliant.
Well, mine's cheaper than £18. Mine's about the £11 mark.
Oh, love letter.
Ooh.
Go on.
Bandido.
Ah, yeah, it's
So
the
I don't-
escapey game.
I don't know if you've played this or not.
I
Yeah,
haven't.
it comes with a deck of cards that are just basically underground routes.
Yeah.
Little L shapes, little T shapes, and then some of them have got a little hand with a torch on, and you're trying to close off. They're just dead ends. You're trying to close off all the routes for Bandido escaping. So you each have a hand of 3 cards. You each play a card. It sounds really simple, but there is knowing that there's 3 left bends in the deck, knowing that there's 3 right bends in the deck, means that there is a level of strategy of trying to line up certain. Right, that route's going down that way, and that route's coming around the corner. If we get the right sort of T-junction, we can turn those 2 routes into one, and we're further along. And so it's a really simple little game. It will take up most of your living room table most times because they're
Sprawling, is it?
yeah, they're sort of long, thin cards. So it does can go in any direction on your living room table, but it takes 10-15 minutes to play. I think I've played it more than any other game in my collection because you're going to put dinner in, quick game of Bandido, or don't know what to pick game wise, have a game of Bandido while you talk about which game you're going to play next. It's really simple, really quick. So
nice.
That's mine under £20.
Well, mine's of a similar ilk, which is Saboteur, which is another one where you put cards down and kind of create a path. But there's usually 3 outcomes at the bottom. You don't know what they are unless you play a map. It can be played with quite a few players, and it's standard thing like Avalon, everything else, where you've got a traitor in the midst, and that person is the Saboteur, and they've got to try and stop everyone else from getting to the gold. And everyone else is got to try and get to the gold, and you're just playing cards, and you can break other people's tools so they can stop playing cards, and other people can fix them. So it's got quite a nice little bit of politics on it as well. For quite a simple game, it can get quite heated, and it's just good fun, really.
It's such a good game.
It is really good.
That potentially was going to be my first choice.
Yeah.
But we've played Love Letter more. We played Saboteur on holiday.
Yeah.
With kids, wives, and they absolutely loved it.
It never fails. It's a game that I always wheel out to anybody, and it always lands.
It's brilliant.
I've never had a bad experience with it yet.
If there's
I think I brought it to our little games night, didn't we? And we all played it then.
Oh yeah, the other night with the games night. Yeah. With kind of new non-gamers that you.
Yes,
taught.
that's it. Yeah. And it just goes down really well.
It sounds like an interesting one that kids will play if there's a bit of politicking in it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that?
Yeah.
Does it land well? Because those two sound like they're going to mesh as a nightmare and have arguing kids.
There's a chance that somebody is a Saboteur. So
it's not guaranteed, is it? No.
So the fact that they're trying to figure out if somebody is evil, and my daughter loved being evil. she loved it, and she genuinely, as soon as we outed her as a Saboteur, she was so smug. And again, the game is literally route planning. It's but
10 minutes. 10 minutes.
But it's the enjoyment of everyone getting involved with it that really makes the game special. It's brilliant
because it doesn't have to be over the top politicking. It's just someone being like, "Oh, you're the Saboteur," and you just play your roads normally. You're like, "No, I'm leading it to the right direction," and then dead end.
It's all I've got.
That's
why
it.
Why'd you go left?
Because you have to play a card.
But
as well,
also, there's the first player to get the gold scores more points. So you're trying to time it on your turn where you do it. So potentially you might take somebody round a longer way so that you can get it on your turn, which makes you look guilty.
Yeah.
So everyone starts accusing everyone of being a Saboteur if it's not obvious who the Saboteur is. And like I said, these games take 10 minutes. They're so much fun in 10 minutes.
It's a set space as well. Because of it's X amount of cards, and it's X amount of width usually. So you know the space you'll be playing in.
Nice.
So you don't have. It's never it doesn't breach out too far either. So
it does sound like we've recommended the cooperative and the non-cooperative version of very similar games.
Yes, that's what I thought. It sounded very similar. Yeah.
Nice. Our next niche number 1 is favourite game that needs upgrading. JP, tell us all about it.
Keep it quick, keep it simple. Mine's Terraforming Mars. Right? If only to mention the bloody player boards where you put your cubes, and if you knock that bad boy, your cubes are going everywhere. So I think
the first edition looked like a knockoff.
Yeah, well, that's stock photos for you for those cards, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which you can either like or love.
Isn't that still the same ones that they print now with it? They haven't changed that stock photo.
No, they haven't. I say first edition. It's the upgrades. It's because I'm used to
no
playing
editions.
it. No,
it's
there
the same
isn't,
edition.
Well, there's a Kickstarter one as well, isn't there? Now
it still has the same art on it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, the only thing that's changed or has been pimped up is now they've got dual layer player boards. Thank Christ. That's a lot better, and they've obviously released 3D tiles and all that.
That's all Kickstarter still, though, isn't it?
Yeah. No, you can buy it. You can buy the
retail
big
now.
Box, which come with all the plastic bonuses as retail. So.
But only as a big box, not with the game. Not you can't do it as a.
Yeah, you spend £90 on it.
I got the small box, which has just the tiles in and not everything else.
Okay.
But that was through the Kickstarter. But I don't know anyway. But I think Terraforming Mars, fantastic game, brilliant game, one of my favourites up there. But component quality is shite.
I very nearly didn't play it. I remember when you put the post up saying, "Come play this game," and I looked at it and went, "Ugh. Oh, that looks awful." I was about to say it looks dog shit, but basically it looked so bad.
Good job you didn't.
I'm glad you didn't swear, mate.
Well, you can edit that bit out if needs be. But I came and I played, and I'm glad I did because it's one of my favourite games. So,
But is that your choice as well then?
yeah, pretty much. This it is the game that you have to upgrade really because it's now everyone in the group has. I couldn't imagine playing it as we originally did.
Yeah, why would you go back to just...
Yeah.
Let's get the old mats out, everyone, put the cubes on and let them slide around off their own accord.
Yeah.
I do genuinely think that Terraforming Mars led to the dual layer player board movement where suddenly they included it in lots of games because they realised how rough it was to nudge a board with that many counters on and lose all your progress. And suddenly every game was like,
Standard.
you can have a dual layer player board.
Yeah, we all had experience with Eclipse before with those single boards.
First edition,
yeah. That's hanging slightly off the table because it just fit on the table. And first person went bang, knocked their cubes everywhere. It was like trying to work out what they had. Someone else then knocked theirs, and it was just absolute bedlam. Yeah. So dual layer player boards, do it.
It's a thing.
What about yours?
I'm going to go with Quacks, I think. So Quacks of Quedlinburg, it's a bag drafting game. So all of these little cardboard pieces go into a bag. You're going to put your fingers all over it. If you play it multiple times, those little cardboard pieces are going to basically fall apart, wear down. Yeah. I think it's fair to say that most people either buy third-party pieces to replace the cardboard or will buy either little like custom 3D printed, like I have. I've got little custom 3D printed protectors that go around it in the colours that match, or they'll get coin capsules or something like that. Yeah. Capsules seem to be a really popular option to mean that game actually will last a couple of years rather than the 10 minutes if you didn't upgrade and put some bits and pieces.
I was looking at some of the plastic like moulded actual token ones that they do.
They do
really nice.
Geek Up bits look lovely.
Yeah, but it was like 90 quid for...
Yeah, by the time you pay tax into our country, absolutely, it's quite expensive. So I've got my little 3D printer. I 3D printed little custom protectors for them.
Yeah.
Took ages doing those one at a time, but yeah, I think it was necessary, and it's a great game. So it's well worth spending that little bit of money in. If after a couple of plays you've enjoyed it, I think you're not going to change your mind on it.
Yeah.
So
once people get their sweaty hands on it because they're like, am I going to pull this? Am I going to pull this token? Like beads of sweat dripping off them into the bag. You know,
their what's it fingers.
Yeah.
Lovely.
And if you're in America, Cheetos.
Yeah, there you go.
Go on then, Rob. What's yours?
For me, the two that I kind of had in mind have recently been upgraded. So Descent, the second edition, with all the tokens on the board, has been cleared up by the app.
Right, okay.
So it's nowhere near as fiddly or anything like that anymore. The app handles everything beautifully. And the other game that I thought needed upgrading was Battlestar Galactica, which of course they've just reskinned as Unfathomable, and they've done a fantastic job with it. So for me, I kind of play games that you guys have. I don't own an awful lot of games.
So they've all been pre-upgraded already.
Exactly, because you guys love a Kickstarter, and I always play the game
Witcher.
Yeah, but I haven't got it yet, so it doesn't count. But like, you guys are very experienced gamers, and you instantly know worth buying a dual layered map for this particular reason, whereas I just get to come and play them.
Yeah.
So for me, the upgraded part, has already been done in the majority of cases.
From our group, we had Ian mentioned Wingspan, which I'm surprised that Becky didn't mention Wingspan, seeing as though she's just spent quite a bit of money on upgrading.
That's an interesting choice because that game is quite beautifully produced.
Yeah, I think it is as well.
The bit that I bought to upgrade my Wingspan was the scoreboard. They do like a licensed nice scoreboard because the scoreboard is like a little bit of really thin cardboard and just doesn't seem to match the rest of the quality.
Yeah.
So I bought a little scoreboard, which was pretty much my only upgrade for that game that I've done. But again, little cardboard pieces of all the food is cardboard, isn't it? If you want to upgrade that to plastic or nice wooden sort of caricature versions of it, I totally understand. I think that's a pretty good choice for
cool.
for that number one.
Start using real birds next as well, can you?
Yeah, and real worms.
Yeah. Why not?
All sorts. Why not?
Our next number one is the favourite game that you've lost your shit over.
We start with. You're looking at me, so I guess we're starting
It's
with
all
me.
of them in it, Davey.
It's not an enjoyable game if you don't lose your shit over at least
For
part
us.
of it.
For us,
Yeah.
Certainly makes it a better experience for
No,
everyone else.
I enjoy it afterwards. Once I've had time to reflect and laugh about my own actions, but yeah. So we're going back. There's a lot of mention of Game of Thrones this episode, isn't there? But Game of Thrones, I will usually lose my shit over. I've shouted about me. There's those cards again. As soon as those cards come out, I seem to the skulls gravitate towards me, and I fucking hate them.
So just for everyone's benefit, these skulls or these cards is what you draw when you attack and defend, right? And then they add like a positive kind of combat power to your strength. And sometimes they have skulls on them, which means your opposition loses opponent regardless of the outcome of the combat. And it's usually Davey's favourite cards that he likes to draw, or get drawn against
me. Yeah. I've worked out everything. I'm going right. So I'm going to win this, even if he plays his highest card.
Yeah.
I've won this, and my unit's taken that area. Happy days. Go in. Oh, so I've just lost a unit. Oh, great. So that means I'm now weaker for this next attack. Oh, that means I've pulled another skull. Oh, my whole plan's fallen apart. Great. And then
Game of Thrones.
yeah. Yeah,
that's all I'll say.
If you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. And then probably I've got one other, which and another one is New Angeles, which is a cool politics game, pretty much, where you play as a corporation and it's set in the Netrunner universe. If anyone knows that, yeah, exactly. And yeah, it was lots of people voting to take power and dominance, and I think I got a little bit too pushy or boisterous, and no one was voting for me, and I got really annoyed by it. And
it's a negotiation game,
yeah.
And you come heavy with your negotiations, and no one wanted to negotiate with it. So yeah, it's I call it the argument simulator, because that game is essentially what it is.
But it's good fun.
It's a fun game.
I really enjoyed that game.
But nice.
Yeah.
Bro?
Well, for me, there's quite an infamous incident that's already been mentioned on the podcast several times, which was Captain Sonar. But much like the fishing trip from Gavin and Stacey, that will remain a mystery for the time being. For me, it wasn't even a moment where I got angry. So it wasn't like a table flipping moment. It was when we were playing Dead of Winter.
Yeah,
and
I just remember that. Yeah.
Played the ultimate round where he promised to do stuff. If anybody hasn't played Dead of Winter, it's a 5-person, up to 5 people, bit like Walking Dead, where you've got a camp and you've got a community of that camp. So not only have you got to fend off zombie attacks, you've also got to work together to get food and supplies and weapons
and clean the camp.
Now, so we assume that there is a chance, a 25% chance, that somebody is working against the other
traitor.
4. So there is a traitor element to it. And we've played this game for probably an hour and a half. Everything was going well. There was no element.
We were bossing it, weren't we?
There was no sign of a traitor for an hour and a half. And Tambo was the last person, and he promised to clean the camp. And he just literally smiled at everyone and went off and did his own thing and won the game. He played an absolute blinder.
I was going to say, it sounds like you're mad that someone else was really good at the game.
Honestly, it wasn't. I wasn't even angry. I was sad.
Anyway, you were disappointed.
I was so disappointed, and he played it so well. And that is a gaming moment that will last. That will remain with me.
He had the last turn, wasn't it? He was like, I'll clean the camp, guys. We're like, okay, we don't have to worry about that.
I've got
all of this. It means
honestly,
morale's not going to drop. We'll be okay.
So good that honestly, I don't think I'm over it now. And this happened about 4 years ago.
About 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Very nice. JP?
X-Wing.
I've heard about you and your X-Wing hatred.
So, my story of X-Wing is I went to UK Games Expo. They had a little demo of X-Wing. Thought, you know what, I've got some time to kill. I was with my brother, played a little game. Thought, this is fantastic. Absolutely loved it.
X-Wing, yeah.
And we had a great time. We had 2 TIE fighters and an X-Wing just pootling around, shooting each other, boo boo, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, sound effects were included. So I bought a copy at the Expo and probably picked up some additional ships, took it home, and then we started having some games, and then more people were kind of buying it and go, yeah, let's get it. And then, I don't know, after about 3 or 4, maybe 5, 6 plays, I just realised I'm absolutely shit at the game, and I can't pilot an X-wing to save my life, and I just ram into asteroids all the time because I don't know, maybe I'm just not spatially aware enough for this game. Because if anyone hasn't played it, you have these templates or these little mini ruler things to determine like whether you're going like a small bank left turn or a sharp left turn or right turn or barrel rolls and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I just found I'm just not good at this, and I've never fallen in love and fallen out of love with a game so fast, and I just wanted to burn it. I just thought I can't do this anymore. I hate this game.
I always
Absolutely
enjoyed watching
hate it.
people fly ships into their own ships, which means if I remember
You can't
correctly, you can't
fight.
fire
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
And
I
just
did that.
watching the rage on their face in that game when they've realised they've got the wrong turning circles, or they've put
Or the
like,
initiative order.
the initiative
cocked
order's
it
not
up.
what they
Yeah,
thought it was.
yeah.
And I can understand it. I
I'm
really
done.
enjoyed that game.
JP, the dyspraxic pilot.
Yeah. I kind of
I
got.
said left, left.
No. Oh, this game. I'm done. And I sold it to Ian, and I went, I'm out.
What about yourself, mate?
Carcassonne. It probably sounds the least likely.
What, rage over Carcassonne?
Yeah, absolutely. So
How?
you got your stack of tiles. I've built up maybe a bit of a complicated city. All I need is that one corner piece. There's 6 or 7 of them in there. I'm playing against 1, maybe 2 other people, so odds are in my favour. And I watch over the next 3 or 4 turns everyone pull out the one piece I want to win the game. There was one game where we got near the end. There's maybe 20 tiles in this stack. So for those who don't know, very quick explanation of Carcassonne is you pull a tile, it has like a city, a bit of a field and a road or some combination, a bit maybe a church on it. You place it down so that the city like edge lines up with the other city
Has to
parts.
match up, doesn't it?
Has to match up.
Yeah.
So if you can't pull the right piece, quite often you lose out on big points for either fields or cities or something like that. And yeah, there's a couple of times where I've been all lined up to get massive points out of a city with a cathedral in the middle of it. And again, I don't know the stacks perfectly, but I know roughly how many of that are in there. So I'm liking my odds. No. And one game where I sat, to be fair, in my own living room with my own copy of the game on a neoprene mat, and I watched, just 2 of us, I watched him every single turn pull the one that I wanted off the top of the stack. And I was just getting straight bit of road. It's just worth nothing, really. Straight bit of road, great. And there's about 20 left, and I just pulled the corner of this neoprene mat off the table and just shot the whole game. I was like, no, you're not having the win on that one. It's the only time I've ever actually flipped a table and say, my living room, my copy of the game. We both laughed at it, but yeah, I was absolutely having none of it. I was like, no, this is absolutely crap. There's no way this should happen. Like, you shouldn't have been able to do that at all. From our group, I was quite interested in this one. Rhiannon said Gloomhaven.
Yeah, I can see that.
Spent 2 hours setting it up, and after 2 turns died, and I was ready to chuck it across the living room. Was pretty much the comment.
Was that the first scenario by any chance?
I'm guessing so.
Because it's notoriously, if you're new to the game, that first scenario is a bitch.
But I can imagine.
Trial by fire.
I would be interested to know, like, if Jaws of the Lion changed that perspective, because you've got the book that's nice and easy to set up and all that kind of stuff.
And it also was a lot easier, the first scenario. It started in very easy because I played it with a group who I was like, oh, Frosthaven's coming out. I think you guys will enjoy this.
A warm-up.
A real nice guy, actually. He sent me over the Christmas of COVID, Jaws of the Lion for free.
Nice.
Yeah. So once we've completed Jaws of the Lion, because I'm still on the last quest, I was also going to hand it on. So maybe we can put that. Yeah, I'll put that up on the group eventually. But yeah, and it kind of eased them into the game really nicely. Actually, Jaws of the Lion. You can see why it was there to try and ease people into Gloomhaven.
Yeah, more accessible version of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, so let's move on to our next one, which is favourite games to play at 2 players that also plays up to 5.
This was tricky.
This was tricky.
This
but
was so niche. I don't think I had one, but all of mine were 4 players, which I liked it too.
This is what I thought, because a lot of the games that I play at 2 players play up to 4.
Yeah.
But I was quite hard pressed, and I thought it'd be interesting to see what we can come up with here, because I genuinely think of a lot of these niche sort of number ones. This one might actually have a use, right? If you regularly play at 2 players, but occasionally get some mates around, you want to play 5 players.
Yeah.
I had a few thoughts on this one, but JP?
Yeah, for me, after crawling through my collection list on Board Game Geek for about 20 minutes, just going, which one? which one am I going to pick? And I've settled on Lorenzo Il Magnifico, which is another beige Euro game set in Florence, obviously during the Italian Renaissance. I know you're all excited, I can tell. Rob's fell asleep. But I think for me, the game plays up to 5. The caveat is with the expansion.
Yeah.
Not out of the base.
I looked at quite a few of those and went, do I include it if it's got an expansion?
It counts.
I didn't count it, so yours is null and void.
No, not at all. But I think as a 2-player, which I play with Shell, or used to when I actually got the game a few years back, it tightens the board up completely, but it still gives you the same feeling, still gives you the same kind of game, the push and pull element of the kind of worker placement spots that you get. And again, it's all engine building. It's all about buying the cards, creating your engine. So yeah, I think for me, I mean, it's a game I'll always play, Lorenzo. I love it, and I'd rather play it more than 2 players, but I'm happy to play it 2 players. It's not a game at 2 players, and it only plays at 3. It is still the same game, but I quite like more players because I'm a sociable animal. But there we go.
Yeah, so I had a sort of similar thought process in some instances of, did I go with a game that I enjoyed at 2 and at 5, or did I go for one that I enjoyed most at 2 but did scale up to 5?
Yeah.
So I had 2. One was with an expansion, which was Hogwarts Battle, the Harry Potter game.
Yeah.
That with expansion can play 5. Played it at 4. Probably wouldn't want to play it at 5, but at 2 I think it's a great game. I think my actual choice is going to be Century Golem, Century Spice Road.
Yeah, fair.
Plays at 2, plays at 5. I think it plays equally, maybe not equally well, but I think it plays very similarly at 2 and all the way up to 5. It's a very simple hand-building game of just upgrading gems to buy pricey golems or the best golems you can buy. One with the most victory points worth of golems wins at the end. I think it's a nice, simple game, and it goes along, because it's turn-based quite often. If you start and expand the player count, turns in, quite often it can get quite lengthy in between turns. But I felt like Century Golem or Spice Road, whichever version you want to go with, has enough speed that whether you're at 2 players or 5 players, it's just as good a game. And because you're building your own engine, it really doesn't matter how many players you're playing with. You're just trying to build your own engine.
Yeah, we covered that, didn't we, in episode 3, as kind of games to get you started kind of thing.
Yep.
So yeah, do check that out if you want to hear loads more about Adrian talking about Spice Road or Golem Edition.
Flashback.
Mine would probably be... I haven't done it though, this is the problem. What's Viticulture like 2 players? Have you ever played it 2 players?
Yeah.
Does it work well?
It's good at 2 players.
So that was what I was thinking as a...
variable worker placement spots.
Yes, because it... Yeah.
So it works well.
I think that would work well, and that's quite good 5 player as well. Is it 5 player?
Sub to 6.
I haven't played beyond 3 players, so interesting.
Well, I actually enjoyed when we played 5 player. We didn't take too long, because your action's quite, there's not a lot you're doing anyway, and it creates more of a, I was about to say hostile environment, but it creates more,
I think more
contention.
You bring that with you.
Touche, Rob. Touche.
Not while I'm making wine. I'm there swirling my wine, smiling, laughing manically.
Yeah, you're making cheese puns and going, why did we not play with the Formaggio expansion? But there we go.
Well, at least he wasn't showing lots of people around his one wine bottle cellar.
I'm winning.
Yeah. Viticulture.
It's a good shout, to be fair.
I hadn't thought of that. That's an amazing shout.
I probably should have preferred that one, but anyway, well done.
So now to let this round
sincerely.
down.
For me, most of the games that I own / play are 4 player.
Yeah.
Co-op games. It's kind of...
That's not the category, Rob.
I know, but the one game that I do own that's 5 player that I enjoy at 5 and I enjoy at 2 is Lords of Waterdeep.
Fair.
Mm-hmm. Nice shout.
That's a good shout.
I play that with my daughter, which is fantastic, and with the expansion you can play at 5 player, which again is fantastic. It's one of my favourite games of all time. Really simple premise, worker placement game.
D&D universe, isn't it?
Set in the D&D universe, but has nothing to do with D&D.
It might as well have been set anywhere else.
You could make that game in any sort of world with enough characters,
pretty much.
Basically.
Yeah.
But I introduced it to a group of friends. They loved it. My wife loved it when we played. My kids love it, and we've played it 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, we played it.
I think as a big group.
Yeah.
And again, loved it.
Yeah,
So
it's good fun. It is good fun.
For me, Lords of Waterdeep.
I think it's a great choice, yeah. So, from the group, Becky chose Terraforming Mars at 2 to 5 players. It does play 2 players, it does play 5 players.
Yeah.
Fair choice.
Yeah,
I think it's not a
definitely.
bad shout.
It's a good shout.
Yeah. I think they realised that when they brought out the card game version of it as well, didn't they?
The Ares edition.
Ares edition.
That only plays 4, I think.
Plays
though,
only
doesn't it?
four, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I prefer it over the base one, but it only plays 4, so
Yeah.
nice.
Fair.
And finally, our favourite game that we are going to get rid of. So I, again, had a few choices. I've got a little bit of a sales pile at the moment building up. I think I'm going to go with Stronghold. Stronghold's a 2-player, one-on-one game where one side plays orcs and trolls invading a castle and the other side is the humans trying to defend it. The second edition is much nicer quality than the first one. I've got the second edition. There is no rolling of dice. It's purely deterministic. And going through the BGG list, I can see people are having exactly the same problem, which is one side seems to win a lot more than the other. But when you look through the forums, it's always different sides. So I think
Which means it's probably quite well balanced.
I think it's probably well balanced, but just people have a certain mindset on it or approach it the same way. I've played both sides. I've never seen the defenders lose.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, if it's all deterministic and not luck based, then it's probably down to the skill level of the players, right?
But if I've played against the same person quite a lot, we've swapped sides a few times. There is a little bit of this time I get to play these tactics. The next time I get to play these.
But this is where house meta probably sets in, and
exactly.
you've both lent towards a certain strategy, and then you both think that's the best one, and it down that avenue.
The way you think about it, and so I just don't see myself. I think I loved playing the game. I loved discovering what it had in it.
I have actually played this a long time ago. I played the first edition a long, long time ago. I did enjoy it when I played it, but
I just don't see it changing because we've tried to change up the way we play the game because it does look like it must be balanced because all these players going, Horde's terrible or the defenders are terrible or whatever it is. And there's such an even split, it seems, of people saying one side's terrible or the other side's terrible, basically, or overpowered. I just can't see myself putting it back on the table and seeing a different result to what I've already seen.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair enough. So I'm probably gonna get rid of Oceans. I kept saying I want to get to table more, but now I've played it a lot more. I played it with my cousins, and it is really good. It's just from a card game, I want more. I think because I'm too used to. A TCG side of things, so trading card games, so such as Magic, Flesh and Blood, Digimon, that kind of side of things. That then when I'm playing these Oceans, it doesn't scratch the itch. So from what I'm wanting from it, so I think I will get rid of it. It just doesn't quite cut it.
I think that's interesting. I really enjoy that game, and I think it's toothy enough for you that ignoring the pun because it's got lots of sharks in it, but
toothy fish.
A toothy fish. Well, it is kind of. I think it's got enough of that meanness to it and thinkiness. I would have pegged you to love that game.
I might, as I said, it is on the potential. I probably will play it a couple more times and play it with some different people as well, and we'll go from there because my cousins are board gamers, but they're not like heavy board gamers, so I might get a different outcome the next time it hits the table.
Yeah, I don't own an awful lot of games because, well, why would I? You buy them all. But
that's what you're just smart, aren't you? You're just the clever one here.
I'm cleverer than
he doesn't actually like any of us. He just hangs around to play our games. That's what it is.
For me, it's a game that it was my first ever. It's what got me hooked on board gaming, and the only problem is you need 2 base copies for it. You sold your copy, JP.
I did.
So I can only play the game 2-player.
What is it?
Arkham Horror. The card game.
The card game.
Love it.
I love that game.
Artwork is fantastic. The replayability factor is incredible. But we did the original campaign. We did the Dunwich Horror.
Yeah, Path to Carcosa.
And we did the Path to Carcosa. Am I going to play that again? 2-player? Probably not. And it's one of those games where my friend's actually just bought it. He bought it in lockdown, so I'm going to say to him, look, if you want this,
the expansions
you can have all the expansions, all the cards, because I'm not going to play it again. and not, like I say, I loved the game. It got me hooked on
It's
board
fantastic.
gaming. The different chapter elements, so it was more of an RPG, really hooked me in because it was a video game in card format
I get that.
more than anything else. But again, we're not going to play it again. And to get 4 players, the reason it worked so well is because at the time the game group hadn't really got going. So
you
it
could
kind
play
of
it at 2, you could play it at 4.
well, we had a set for people that
really?
played it, and we played every chapter, but the availability to get it to the table was much higher because there was less games going on.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now, I mean,
It was competing for space in calendars, wasn't it?
exactly. So
Well,
realistically,
probably my fault, to be honest.
but realistically, I'm never going to play that again. I'm not going to buy the expansions for it because I'm not going to play it again. So for me, that would be the one game that
Yeah,
I'm.
And I guess you're running Descent now as well, so that's
Exactly.
probably taking your time up over the.
And I've got Imperial Assault coming,
Yeah.
so that's gonna and eventually when they sort the issues out in Shanghai, The Witcher's going to be coming. So realistically, am I ever going to get it to the table again for more than one game?
I mean, it competes quite nicely with Marvel Champions as well, I'm guessing, which
we're playing as well.
has turned. There's definitely been quite a few.
Marvel Champions is a lot less like story and theme,
Yes.
though, isn't it? It's
Yes.
just a one hit, which
But
is
one
a lot
shot.
easier
But
to
As
play.
you say,
why I got
with
it.
the way
Yeah.
the group dynamic is now, those one shots are probably better than
Yeah.
a
Yes.
campaign
Yeah,
that you've got to play through.
And that's the thing. So yeah, reluctantly selling it.
Go on then, Jamie.
Favourite game, I'm getting rid of Flotilla, I think. I think you enjoy Flotilla, don't you?
I
Like,
love
he's got a little
Flotilla.
sad face. I actually really enjoy it. I think it's a great game. And I suppose I'm on the fence, even though right now, as we speak, there is a post up that the game is sitting on with a value attached to it. So we'll see. Obviously, with UK Games Expo around the corner, it's always a good time to offload your games. But the game is set in, if you think Waterworld, okay, it's not got Kevin Costner in it, so don't worry.
I'm out.
Disappointing.
Yeah. Boo. I wish he was in it. But it's got a really unique mechanic that I've not seen, and that's not the Concordia hand management, because obviously it's completely ripped off from that game. But it's the fact that you can decide at any point during the game to kind of flip your role from like was it sink side to sky side or something
Yes,
like
it.
that.
Yeah.
And it changes the kind of the game mechanics all around, and you don't have to do this. You can decide right at the beginning to do it, you can decide right at the end or middle, or not even bother, and then it kind of has this push-pull mechanic between the two different sides as one of you kind of sit on the middle island doing stuff, and the other ones have got your ships out delving for resources and stuff. I think it's just really unique and quite fun, but I think every time I want to get to the table, it doesn't fill out,
No.
and it's not everyone's cup of tea, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Or it's just not good enough in people's minds
To compete with
compete with other games.
Yeah, I've
So-
not felt whenever you've put the thing up and it's like, well, I've got 2-3 different evenings I need to be doing stuff. It's always like, Flotilla can probably take a pass.
Yeah.
Like,
See, I
that's
really
what
enjoy
I've not
it.
even
It's
played
got-
it.
Yeah.
I've not even played it. It's just that looking at it and
The-
kind of having a thought of, maybe not.
The cool mechanic of if everyone stays sink side, then you start running out. Resources get too cheap, and you can't afford to do things. And then quickly someone goes sky side and starts buying all the resources.
buy it cheap.
Pushes all the prices
Yeah.
back up, and it's got that nice little mechanic. And when you flip
Clever.
over, you all get different abilities again. So
It's very clever. We'll see. If I don't end up selling it, because no one wants to buy it, it might stay in the collection. But yeah, I think there are other things I would rather play, and it's a bit like your Oceans. It's kind of like there's just so many other competing games that once they hit the table, and you can't play them all, can you?
And as well,
No.
like realistically, I can probably get 1, maybe 2 game nights in a week if I'm lucky.
yeah.
You know, it's just the opportunity to play is more the hardest part of it.
Yeah.
But there we go.
I think a thought I haven't had for a little while, but it was an interesting one. Rhiannon on this answer turned around and said, "My Kallax isn't full yet, so I'm not getting rid of anything." I vaguely remember that feeling a few years ago, but
I remember that when I had my 2x4 Kallax,
When you're-
and it wasn't full, and I was thinking, wow, I've got a lot of games, and there was 4 in there. Thinking, I need to calm down, and it's getting a bit, it's getting a bit overboard.
What she hasn't said is she's just upgraded to like the massive 16.
5x5.
Yeah.
Like whole
50 by 50.
Yeah. She can't get out the front door, but it's empty, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's all good.
At Stretch, I do actually have 2 where I can move all my girlfriend's stuff off of it and then put some
All
more
the
board
ornaments.
games on it. Yeah.
If I move the missus out of the house, then of course I can.
I have an entire room to put games in.
Remember, edit that out, JP.
Yeah, sure. Will do.
Actually, won't listen anyway.
That's the important part. And that brings us to the end of our niche number 1s. Moving on next to our listeners' questions. So, turn 4, our listener question. The question is, what makes a great co-op game? Pause for thought.
Yeah, it was...
I got this. An element of backstabbing. The dead of winter, the saboteur, where you have to work together, but you don't wholly trust each other.
That's semi-co-op though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not fully co-op.
Oh,
Does the question fully co-op? Or?
No, it just says what makes a great co-op
Oh,
game.
okay, yeah, so that could
counts.
be. So for you like having the element of
we're in this together, but are we?
yeah, someone could be evil.
Yeah,
you know.
fair.
Yeah.
That's
For
yeah.
me, that really enhances. I love Descent, and I prefer co-op games, but that element that somebody might not be just
Keeps you on
keeps
your
it,
toes,
Yeah, it makes it a little bit more edgy
A bit more
for
exciting.
me. But fully co-op games I absolutely love. That's my thing.
Yeah.
But for me, that little twist just kind of enhances it for me.
For me, it's so having your own agency rather than having someone lead the game. Which if someone's worked out the puzzle, then you might as well not be there.
Boring.
I agree. I certainly feel like there needs to be a hidden information element where only you know certain bits too. One of my favourites is Pandemic, and that has no hidden information. And you're right, someone can, and I have in the past, and try my best not to. Alpha game, just quarterback the whole game. And, right, well, okay, well, why don't you go over there? Why don't you do this? And have you thought about this move instead? And they can run the game or a good portion of it. Having some information that's hidden away, that's not easy to see.
Yeah.
Whether it is an objective or a piece of information or something like that they're not required to share or shouldn't be sharing.
Yeah.
I think that improves the co-op by making sure that it can't be quarterbacked. And a lot of co-ops now have removed or have added something which mean you can't quarterback it.
Yeah,
so easily.
because it literally makes you feel either useless or it's just you're wasting your own time because it's someone else's.
fun, is it?
Yeah, no, someone else is playing it, isn't it?
That's
So-
exactly what I was going to say, Davey. It was it's feeling like you can contribute to the puzzle.
Yeah.
And have that. I want to say it doesn't always have to be even, but feel like you help figure it out and you did something. So yeah, it's that's an important thing for me in co-ops. Otherwise, what's the point?
Having
Play
your own
solo.
powers and abilities and
solo.
stuff like that you can bring forward, and then
Yeah.
that's you having to solve it on your terms because it's your choice when you're using it, and it's probably why RPGs and dungeon crawlers work so well. Is because you do have your own character you're taking through. Yeah.
Someone can say, can you go over and fight that goblin for me, please?
Exactly.
But ultimately, it is kind of your decision at the end of the day. I think that's a lot of co-ops. That's the best thing to remember is someone can suggest something to you, and you can just say, nah, I'm going to go over and take on that instead. One of the questions I had kind of off of this question is a good co-op easy to achieve or hard to achieve? I like a co-op that's hard to solve, that's hard to beat. One of my favourites that I can very rarely get people to play is Ghost Stories, because it is really tough game with lots of bits going on. You have to kind of learn maybe a bit too many rules, but it is really tough. I know people that will refuse to play it because of how tough it is. And I can understand that mood, I can understand that feeling, but does that make it a better co-op because it's tougher to beat, or does it make it a better co-op when it's easy to beat?
That's what you're trying to get out of it.
Yeah, that is it. I guess if you're in a lighter mood and you probably play Pandemics, it's a bit easier and you're more likely to achieve your goals. Whereas if you want to sit down and have a nice think, get Robinson Crusoe to the table and play a bit of that.
And
I've played that. Yeah, I've played that quite a few times, and that one is a real big brain burner. But that one you can end up alpha gaming as well, but because there's so much of a puzzle, having someone else there, if it's harder, alpha gaming becomes less prevalent because you need more people to solve that puzzle.
The puzzle could
itself.
have multiple ways to solve it.
Yeah, that's it.
And there could be multiple things going on that, they could be, with the easier puzzles, having that's the way to solve it is quite often the point where you get quarterbacking when it's tough.
Yeah.
But also something like Mansions, where the game is difficult regardless of how many players you have.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of times we've lost Mansions of Madness co-op, obviously with the app, and still had a great time, and that's because the twists in the story. So the game is obviously the same. It's the story that's changing and making it more difficult.
it's
And
narrative,
if you don't work together, it's incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
So regardless of whether somebody's, you will have your input as to what to do, but ultimately it's your decision.
Yeah.
Just trying to sort of summarise my thoughts a little bit in the fact that I think you've kind of hit the nail on the head. Is really what makes a great co-op is that you're all invested.
Yeah.
If you're all invested in that outcome, win, lose, draw, whatever it is, if everyone around the table is on the edge of their seat, standing up, whatever it is, desperate for that dice roll or that choice to go the right way, then you've got a good co-op on your hands.
Yeah.
And that's not a specific mechanic or a single thing. Are we all invested? Are we all feeling the pinch on this game?
It's the environment.
And if it's going
Picking the
right
right game for the group.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
So I think we've summarised that nicely. So thank you very much, Rick, for asking that question. If anyone else out there has questions, we've got a bit of a list now. It's actual listeners asking questions, which we're going through, but we'll add it to the list and we make sure we get around to yours at some point.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Rick.
Thank you, Rick. And turn 5, our penultimate turn. What are we all looking forward to? Either gaming or non-gaming that's just round the corner for us. I think I know the answer to a few of people's.
UKGE.
Which is probably
the
been
biggest
and
game,
gone
I
when
think.
this is released.
Yes,
isn't
it
it?
will be, yeah.
We loved it. It was brilliant.
Yeah. See us there.
See us
Yeah,
there.
Come and say hello.
We've already been. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
It's that
For the
podcast
future
magic-y,
one.
wimey-timey-wimey sort of stuff going on.
Anachrony's come into play and we're all gone a bit of time travel. We don't know what's going on.
So is there any stands or anything you guys, most of you on the Crocodile tournament, I think?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Saturday.
Yeah. I want to play Wonderland Wars to see what it's like because it looks a little bit like Quacks of Quedlinburg mixed with some area control, so it looked quite intriguing.
Cool.
Yeah, a little bit attacking, defense, and pulling stuff out of bags. So yeah, why not?
Nice.
It's my first ever Game Expo. I'm going in completely blind. I have no idea what's going to be there. I am just going to go and enjoy the experience.
Here's my wing sitting under it.
Yeah,
Basically. God help you.
yeah, it'll be fine. To be honest, I'm just looking forward to it.
Don't follow him down dark alleys.
A couple of steins deep, you'll be loving it.
Exactly. I think I'm going to come back a lot less financially, physically, mentally.
You'll be tired, mate.
Yeah, but just looking forward to it. And to be honest, getting away with you guys, I think we all get on genuinely. It's not we're a group of friends that play board games, as in we don't all come together just to play the games. So yeah, getting away, having some fun, going in completely blind. I think the last
tearing up here, mate.
I've been to what was the one we went to Alexandra Palace?
What?
To get the
Tabletop Gaming Live.
Tabletop Gaming Live, and had a wonderful experience. Saw games that I didn't even know were there.
Or you might never see again.
Exactly. I ended up buying Escape the Castle.
Yeah.
First game, we got in there early. There wasn't that many people in there. They were like, lads, come and sit down and play this.
Nice.
I'll have it. Thank you. Wonderful time. Brilliant.
Love it. Easiest sell that you have.
Salesman's dream, right there.
I'm not a complicated creature in any shape or form. So,
oh god, you're going to be spending loads.
Yeah, but I just enjoyed the experience, and there was just a lot of cool people to be in the room with. So yeah, just really looking forward to that.
Mine isn't Expo related.
Controversial.
I'm actually.
Did you just moo.
I don't know what I'm doing.
He's playing herd mentality.
I'm playing Agricola. No, I am very excited because I'm going over to Gaming Rules HQ again tomorrow, and I'm going to be playing Septima, which is the new Mind Clash games that's not even been released yet.
Oh, nice. The sci-fi one.
No, the witch one.
Oh, the witch one.
There's a witches one where you all different covens of witches and
sounds cool.
And you do stuff. I don't know anything about the game, so I can't tell you anything. I'm just excited to play it. One, because it's Mind Clash. Hey, I'm a fanboy. And two, it's just quite nice to actually play a game before I may back it on the Kickstarter.
Yeah, so, nice. That always helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to giving that a whirl.
Cool.
That's kind of mine, really.
Nice.
Look at you flexing your... I'm turning up on a YouTube channel.
May do.
Are you being filmed,
Yeah, it will be recorded, and it'll be released, I think, when the Kickstarter goes live.
Okay, cool.
So
nice.
usually the videos...
It's like the little playthrough things
Yeah.
that they put on the bottom of the...
see it play through, see
Yeah,
how to
yeah,
play
cool.
all that.
Nice.
So potentially might be on there. We'll see. But no, I'm looking
Well,
forward
your
to
hands will be at least.
Yeah. If you see my...
See your little fingers
see
coming
my little
across
fingers.
and picking up a piece.
I mean, if you've seen some expert...
Oh, they're my hands, those are.
You'll see some expert play. Not.
Just put a little cheeky thumbs up so we know it's you, yeah?
Yeah,
Just,
yeah.
oh.
I'll be wearing my hoodie.
Oh, yeah, nice, yeah.
So you
Yeah,
might
but
see
what
it.
I'm saying is sometimes they're just the table, top
Not
down,
if I climb on the
aren't
table.
they? Point to your back,
And
yeah,
that was the
yeah.
last time JP ever went.
Last time I was invited round Paul Brogan's house. But yeah, that is me.
I've not got a lot planned in gaming wise. I picked up a cheap copy of Dune Imperium from a Dent and Ding section.
Yes, I saw that.
Always like a bit of that, so that'll be getting to the table hopefully tomorrow. And then
Cracking
It's a
choice.
good game.
I
Cracking choice.
love Dune
I'm
Imperium.
tempted to get a copy of it as well, to be honest.
It wasn't because JP's got it, so I wasn't intending to buy it. But when I saw a nice cheap Dent and Ding copy, I was like,
Yeah.
I'll have that. I think so.
It's so quick to get to the table and get games in.
It's
It doesn't
even
burn.
quicker
good.
to fill up. I haven't even played it yet because
Yeah.
every time an event goes out, it's instantly
Wow.
You just got a request, Rob.
And it looks easier to set up than Lost Ruins of Arnak. So
It
it's
is.
one of those,
Self.
yeah.
See, I
So
still need to
quick.
play that at some point.
It's really good. It's really good.
Yeah.
The other one that I'm hoping to get to the table in the next couple of weeks is to finish off at least the first campaign of Imperial Assault. So I know, Rob, you've just bought it all.
I'm getting it for my birthday,
Oh,
which was
you-
the other thing.
Which is when?
Sunday. So,
Ooh, happy
Happy
birthday!
so yeah, let me know how it goes because.
This podcast episode is devoted to Rob's birthday.
Why thank you.
So I played the first half of it with the intro on the app, and I thought that went really well. It's not normally... I thought I was quite burnt out on these kind of dungeon dwelling, dungeon bashing sort of games. But actually this was pretty nice. I enjoyed what I played of it. It's not my normal type of game, but I enjoyed it enough that we sat and played nearly 6-7 hours of it straight. And I'd probably sit down and play another sort of similar 6-hour session of it and just smash through the rest of the campaign.
If ever you want to play as the DM as
The
such, the
villains.
villain, then we should sort that out because that sounds
I'll
like
probably,
that seems like a lot of good fun.
Yeah,
So-
so that's definitely on my
We'll enjoy.
radar to
Yeah,
play
enjoy it,
next.
mate.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. And with that, our final turn is wrapping up and victory points are about to be scored. Davey's probably won.
Curly's one. He's not even
He's not
there.
even here. Thanks everyone for listening. If you've enjoyed the show, please like, subscribe and review on your podcast player of choice. If you want to get in touch with the show on our socials, you can. First of all, you can email us at players@whosturn.co.uk. You could check out our Facebook page at Whose Turn Is It Anyway Podcast. You could go to our Instagram page at Whose Turn Podcast and TikTok at Whose Turn Is It Anyway, and someone who isn't me will probably get in touch if you contact us through that
Yeah, love it.
method.
Me or David.
Yeah.
We'll be back in 2 weeks' time with another episode. So until then, whose turn is it anyway?